This poem is called The Curse from Alaafin Aole. The swallow is a restless flyer, but he did first learn to perch. He will use a viper to tie firewood, must expect a sting. He who challenges a lion to wrestle must be prepared for bruises. Sub-chiefs led by Afonja of Ilorin serve Oyo Alaafin of the great empire of Oyo an empty calabash, demanding an end to his reign as a necessity for ancestral grace through the traditional route death by his own hands. For the rise against his blooming authority, his boundless bounty, the Alaafin, furious like wildfire, drenching in smoke vapors of sweat, grumbling in lion roars, rushes out of his royal palace, and to the sons of Oyo utters his famous curse, spoken today as dreary and legendary, sung yesterday as cold and fiery. Outside he shoots 3 arrows to the north, south, and west, cursing his people and chiefs of Oyo, felt whenever their sons were sent out of these lands, like these released arrows, they will never return, and they will not reprimand children gone with the winds to the tempestuous high seas to become slaves of stranger masters, when themselves as masters did found in their lands. Then he drops an earthen dish to the ground. It is smitten and broken, with contents fuming and stinking. To this says the Alaafin, a broken calabash is mended, but this earthen dish cannot. So let my words be irrevocable. Into his private quarters he thrusts the gleaming points of a stiff, glittery blade into his receptive abdomen. Oyo broke into pieces like dust in the winds. Her children went far and far, like the waves of the seas, captives to her rumbles. They shall, like drifters, never again be children of old Oyo. This poem is an historical poem. It's situated in Yoruba land and in the old Oyo majestic empire. And it is talking about the legendary curse from Alaafin Aole, and that led to the scattering, the divisions of Oyo. And they are saying that a sub-chief attempted to overthrow the king, Afonja from Ilorin. He attempted to overthrow the king, and so with some other people, they decided that they had now the quota to make the king step down by killing himself, which was recommended by tradition. So the king, feeling so bad that his sub-chiefs could stand against his authority, or probably thinking that he had done a lot for his people to get this kind of demand from them, decided to curse Oyo. He did this by releasing 3 arrows to 3 different directions, and these arrows went away, and he now used an earthen dish. He cracked the earthen dish. The earthen dish was like containing some potions that were the curse, and he stated that it is easy not to be able to mend this kind of earthen dish, because at that time, 1817, probably didn't have a means to remold it if it's all scattered. So what is happening here is that he was cursing Oyo in a kind of irrevocable manner, and he said that when the children of Oyo went out of Oyo, they will, like the released arrows, never come back. So there was not a possibility of continuity, of regeneration of Oyo. And to some extent, probably you can go to Yoruba land now and realize that the people are more divisive. We don't want to say that the Alaafin was too powerful, but the legendary curse may have affected the people in a way that you can see now, or that the revolt from sub-chiefs may have affected the unity of the kingdom, because now it is definitely not a state as it was in 1817. So this poem is an historical poem that traces the culture of the Yoruba people and what happens to a king when he is opposed and when they think that he has lost ancestral grace. In a way, it also shows that unlike what most people out of Africa think, kings are not infallible. They are also subject to scrutiny, and when it is seeing that they have acted ultra vires, they are called upon to step down, and in this case to kill themselves. And if you look amongst the Bamoun people of Cameroon, every 2 years there is what they call the Ngun, in which people try to question the king, the sultan, on what he's been doing in terms of policy in the village. This tallies well with this kind of poetry that is trying to suggest that history says that African kings, like the Yoruba king Aole, were dishonored, even though they were being put to trial by the very dictates of their customs. And so it has led to certain aspects of society now that are probably not what their ancestors would have dreamt of.